Hello and welcome. If you are new around these parts, then and this is your first time, say hey in the comments and let me know what you are drinking because this is Spill the Tea in 10 with La Libre, where we do a rapid fire style Q&A with pre-submitted questions from people in the audience like you. Can you tell that I've been watching a lot of all that with my son? So I'm really into the live audience thing right now. But this whole deal is 10 minutes, quick, concise, practical PD for teachers like you who are trying to make their switch to proficiency more practical. So let's get right to it because we only have 10 minutes and I have a really exciting topic for you today. So jump into the comments and let me know, what are you drinking today? Today I've got matcha. I'm trying a new thing to see if I can make it semi-decent at home. We'll see. There's still a lot of it stuck in the bottom. But let me know what you're drinking today for your Spill the Tea in 10 minutes. And if you had your first day of school today, or if it is coming up soon, because today I dropped my son off at the bus stop for his first day of school. So it's really exciting. All right, let me see what time we are at and how much time we got. You ready for our topic today? For Spill the Tea in 10, we're talking about for proficiency-oriented instruction, rooted in comprehensible input. How do you get students to buy in to this method? That was the question I got. And so the context might be a little bit different depending on where you're at. Maybe it could be they've had a different teacher before who uses a different method, or they might just not be used to this whole language thing anyways. So let's start from the top with, let's examine the question. How do I get students to buy in? Well, how can you buy in to your students? Because in the classroom, it's a community activity. Learning is a community-oriented experience and activity. So the best way that you can, above everything else, like no holds barred, like not even worrying about the fact that we are world language and we're trying to talk about making everybody comfortable with being in an immersive environment and experience, that you have to help students realize that they're in a safe community environment by giving forth the trust and the affection that you want to receive as being a part of that community. So how can you do that? My favorite way to do this is to make sure through a class roster, very intentionally doing this, and this could be one of your practices for your back to school routines. It's really easy to add and doesn't add any time or effort to your day, is just check off on your roster every time that you talk to a student about something very specific to them. It could be a compliment or asking them what they're doing after school, or who lives at home with them, or where'd they get that sweet shirt with that anime character. Anything that lets them know that you're paying attention to them and only them. And remember that it is quality over quantity forever and always. When I was in the classroom, I was in the high school realm where I had 150 to maybe 170 students every year in block sections. And so sometimes even by the next semester, I would have trouble remembering the names of the students that I had just in September. So I get it. You've got a lot of people coming in and out of your door. This is how you make it a quality versus quantity thing, because you don't have a lot of time with each of your kids if you have a bunch of them, but you can make them feel like they're the only person in the room if you stop, turn to them, give them eye contact, and for 10 precious seconds, ask them a really meaningful question and give them personalized, individualized attention. It makes a world of difference. How many times have you gone through your school life? Think about, remember being in their shoes and you didn't hear your name at all throughout the school day, through all the different classrooms and teachers that you walked through. So that's just one simple way that you could do it, is just using that kid's name a lot more, making an intentional conscious effort to do that, or even better, adding that onto an intentional conscious effort to speaking to as many students as you can in a week, trying to get to all of them in your class roster. It also helps balance out making sure that you're not just talking to the students that are easy to talk to, right? Okay. I would also say that I got my handy dandy notebook right here. Let me move this matcha. That one of the things that I would do specifically with helping with buy-in is during those crucial first few weeks, help them understand what the name of the game is, what even is proficiency-oriented instruction, and why does it matter? Now, you do not need to give them a crash course in SLA. That is not the name of the game, but I'm talking this sample sentence. Okay, guys, remember when you were 0 years old and you didn't know any of that first language that you were learning? How did people talk to you and help you understand things? That's right. They repeated things over and over again. They gestured to things and they would say stuff in a silly voice, or they would do it over and over, kind of like they were talking to a kid. Like, oh, this is a drink. Are you thirsty? Do you want some tea? I'm, of course, not going to talk to you like you're a kid, but I'm going to ask you things that are relevant to you that you care about. And I might do that same thing where I'm going to ask you things 10 times in 10 different ways and point to things and look really, really silly so that you understand every single word that I'm saying, or at least close to it. And my job is to make sure that I am being really, really easy to understand. Your job is that you tell me when I'm not easy to understand. That might be all that you need for that conversation. And then say that the only way, back into like classroom, pretend classroom mode, the only way that this is going to work is if you and I work together. Because if I'm standing up here acting ridiculous all by myself, saying, oh, this is a pen. Is it a pen or a pencil? Is it a big pen or a small pen? And I'm getting crickets, then I have no idea if you know what's going to happen for the upcoming quiz. And I have no idea if you know what I'm saying or not. So I need your partnership on this. Your conversation, hopefully, will be a lot more interesting than mine, but you will come up with something really cool that grabs their attention, that works with them and their style and their age group. The next thing that I would say is explain to their stakeholders, parents, guardians, administrators as well, just a quick spiel. And you could even do a unit with students. I used to love doing this, like a full 2-week deal on what it means to be a good language learner and how they can practice that, because I never had any issues with anybody, stakeholders or students alike, trying to figure out why are we doing the stuff that we're doing in class, because the unit took care of all of those questions as we were working on it. It can be things like, what's a little bit of the science behind it? Super basic things. How does it look in class? What are some of the ways that I can get help if it's not really working? Or what should the teacher be doing and what should the student be doing? And this helps to create buy-in because you're making sure that your responsibility is held just as high and accountable as theirs is. The other thing that I would really recommend is make sure that you set up some class norms. And you can do that through something like a social contract, anything along those lines, where the students put their buy-in by saying what they expect from you and what they expect from their learning, as well as what you expect from students. You will be amazed by the things that students say, because students care a lot about their experience in school. They really do. You will see it when you ask them the simple question of, what are you hoping to get out of this class? And the answers that they give to you. When they say, I want to speak French, that's a big moment for you to highlight for them. Oh, you want to speak French? This is how you get there. These are the things that you have to do. And this is the work that has to be done. Are you ready to take on that challenge? If this is what you want, this is how you get there. Are you ready for that? And you get to hold them accountable for that. But, of course, like, don't dish out what you can't eat. You have to also say, my job is to do this, this, and this. That ties into a really important philosophy that will get you so far with student buy-in, which is this relationship of push and pull, of give before you receive, of 50% comes from you, and then you will receive the other 50% of that 100% community-oriented classroom environment. The classroom is led by you, depends on you. You are the foundation, but your kids are the pillars, and you can't create any kind of structure one without the other. So yeah, there's only one of you, but you are a huge factor in what goes on in class, but you're not the only thing. The students make up the other 50%, and they are just as important as you are. They have a different role than you do, but don't negate it. Involve them in every chance that you can in the process. Trust them a little more than you're comfortable with, because they will surprise you. Students will rise to the challenge if you give them the opportunity to do so. And they will do it really well if you give them clear boundaries within the realms that you are looking for. So make sure that you're working also with the environment and the context that you are in. I would also say that another way to make this work is ask often for feedback. This is the number one way, and this is the one of two last things that we'll wrap this session up with, that asking for feedback on your own performance is one of the best ways that you can create student buy-in for your classroom and your experience. You will be amazed at how little students get asked of how their experience in school is going. It's nuts. I thought that, asking, once in a while, once a week or once a month in class was, kind of staunchly not enough. And then I found out that in most of my teaching career that no other teachers were really doing this. So make a concerted effort to make it known that you care a great deal about how you are doing in class in a way that makes sense and makes it clear that, of course, like, well, yeah, you're still in charge, but that you want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can do for your students. You're not asking about stuff that's not negotiable, obviously. You're asking about things like, am I making myself clear and understood in class? Are the objectives clear and understandable? Do you know exactly what we're learning? And can you tell me what we learned yesterday and what we're going to learn tomorrow? Those types of things. And I would say that one of the ways that you can help to create buy-in for your students is give them small wins that they can really rely on to understand their journey, because it's difficult, especially in the first year, where you don't feel like you're making that much progress, even though you are getting, a few words here and there, you're starting to understand some sentences. So make milestones for them that actually make sense for their level. Maybe if they're in level 3 or 4, you can make different milestones as well, because they tend to plateau at that level as well. And their progress will stall out for a little bit while their brains are restructuring before they can move on to the next thing. So I'm thinking like super bite-sized milestones in their journey that look a lot like can-do statements. Maybe I was able to participate in the entire 5-minute conversation that we had today. Or I understood 3 out of 4 questions that you asked me. Or I participated in an activity today and I understood all the directions on the paper. Those are really cool milestones that you can give your kids. And you can even create them and put them on a bingo sheet and create a prize for them once they've hit a bunch of these objectives that are on that same level that you are looking for. So these are some quick and easy ways that you can create some buy-in, but do know that cultivating buy-in is it's like any other type of relationship. It is work all year round and requires daily maintenance. But the hard work is really up front in the first few weeks of establishing that trustworthy foundation. You need to establish trust before you can ask before you receive that trust that you want from your students and that buy-in that you want. I hope that this is helpful for you. Join me again next Wednesday, same time, same place in this Facebook group. Or if you're catching it on the replay, let me know below. And I'm so thankful that we could be here together, learning about CI and doing the dang thing. This was really cool, y'all. All right, I will see you next week, Wednesday, 4 p.m. EST. And until then, Have an amazing week. And if you are back to school, I know you're killing it. I'm rooting for you. Have a great week, y'all. Bye.